We did discuss the fact that if the Eagles lose some games, the Chiefs lose some games, that stuff like this would happen where teammates would start questioning other guys on the team. And in this case, it's Jalen Hurts coming out after the Eagles have lost 3 straight, saying the team's not entirely focused. Now, you and Tony Boselli, good guys, team guys. I don't envision you guys ever saying something like that publicly about your team or any of your teammates. So, Mike, I will start with you, then we'll go to Tony. How'd you feel about Jalen Hurts' comments?
Well, I like I said, I'm sure as soon as he said it, he was trying to think of unsaying it. And at that point, what I would have done is I said, listen, guys, I'm sick and I have a whole lot of medicine in me right now, and I don't know what I'm saying. Goodbye. And then walk off. Because you don't want to have to answer that. You don't want your teammates to have to answer that because, you know, that's what reporters will do. They'll go to the rest of the team and they'll say, this is what your quarterback said. What does he mean? So I don't know what he meant by it. I've never heard any type of follow-up on it. But it's something you never want to say publicly because then you end up starting to write checks other people have to cash. And that's something no other player. You don't want to be talking about something other than the game coming up.
You don't want to add to the noise and the distractions that are already out there. And I think, you know, good rule of thumb, you know, I try to always do it is talk in general about the game, what's going on, what went well, what didn't, what's coming up. And then if you're ever going to be critical, just talk about your own game, like what you need to do, because you can always, then you're not asking anyone else to, you know, respond to something you said, and you just focus on, you know, what you can do. And I think the hard part about Jalen's comment, it's so ambiguous. You don't know, like, what is he discussing? Is it commitment to guys showing up, working, studying the playbook? Or, you know, that could mean, hey, we need to be committed to getting back to the fundamentals of doing the little things right. Those are wildly different. Like the second latter comment's like, hey, it's just saying we need to, you know, get back to the basics and do a better job. The first ones, you're calling individual guys out. Now everyone in the media and everyone in the locker room wants to know, who's he talking about?
Right,
you know?
right.
It was
exactly right.
It was Jason Kelsey, guys, just so we know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was. And the thing about it is, you know, let's look at this year and also remember other teams are getting paid. I mean, who won the Super Bowl last year? Kansas City. How are they faring right now? Right? I mean, they're 9-5. They don't look like the Super Bowl champs have looked. Look at the Buffalo Bills, a team we put right at the top of the ACC, or the AFC. They're fighting to get even into the playoffs right now. They're not in the playoffs. So, I mean, a lot of the top teams, I mean, the only one I think you can really say, oh, yeah, that team's got it going on is San Francisco. They went through the injury bug early in the season with Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, lost 3 in a row. And that's what a lot, as Tony knows, a lot of it is about is when do you get hurt? When do you get, because every year someone gets hurt. When do you get hurt? When do you get healthy? And I'll always say one of the great sayings, and I saw this when my brother Bob's 77 Notre Dame team won the national championship. I think it was the second game of the season. They lost to Ole Miss. And then they ended up in the bowl game to play Texas, who was number 1 in the country with Earl Campbell as their running back. And Notre Dame beat the crap out of them, won the national championship. And on the board in the locker room, it said, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And that's what it is in the NFL too. I mean, that's how a 9-7 Giants team can win the Super Bowl.
I mean, in college football, you can get eliminated because of the system.
Right.
In the NFL, it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that the 49ers lost 3 in a row and they were beat up, you know, early, you know, mid-season, who cares? And by the way, there's still 3 weeks left. You know, every team is an injury or 2 away from not being relevant and not having their team ready for the playoffs. So you got to let this thing play out. I thought the Eagles were going to be a different team this year because if you look at that offense last year, and I think you now look at what Indianapolis is doing. Shane Steichen is a really good offensive mind. And you go back to Herbert's early days, why he had success, guess who his coach was? It was Shane Steichen. I mean, Shane Steichen is one of the better offensive minds, and I thought losing him because I thought he did a great job schematically, very creative, great, put Jalen in positions that maximized his strengths. And I thought losing him was an under-reported story. And I think, you know, you look at all the stuff this week is how predictable they are on offense, not much creativity. People have figured them out. whether that's true or not, or whether it's just guys aren't playing well and Jalen's hurt or whatever, it's not the same offense. And that defense was great last year because they played with a lead every week, a 2-possession lead where they could pin their ears back. And Mike, as a defensive lineman, when you stop worrying about stopping the run because guys have to pass, advantage defense. And now you have that offensive line on their heels, and they can't do what they want to do.